Hey guys, I'm Byron Werbeloff from Center Court Tennis Academy. Today I'm going to discuss something that comes up a lot with parents and even students. What goes on with the development of a tennis player? I mean, how long does it take to become a professional tennis player if you want to? How long does it take to become a tournament player or to play for a club? How long does it take to just get the ball over the net a few times in a row? So these are all questions we're going to discuss today, and also how to help improve that. What are the theories behind all of this? So yeah, I want you to imagine yourself waking up in the morning and you're now 7 years old and you used to be right-handed, but all of a sudden you're left-handed and you're now having to do everything left-handed. And also, you're now having to learn a new language as well. Let's say you're English, and now all of a sudden you're having to learn in Italian. That's what it feels like for a beginner, especially at that age. It is totally new, totally different, and you can't skip steps, unfortunately. Yeah, you do get those exceptional outliers, those players that become top in the country, by the age of 10 or whatever it may be, or top in the world within the first 8 years of them playing tennis. And yeah, you get those people, but they're very few and far between. There's something called the 10,000 hour rule, which says that you need 10,000 hours in order to become a professional at a certain skill. Um, Now, I am not a huge fan of that theory, that there's a lot of evidence for and against it. On average, a lot of people take 10,000 hours to become very good. I wouldn't say professional at a skill, depending on what it is and how difficult the skill is. As a tennis player, you never hit the same ball twice in your life. So think about it. The ball, every time you hit it, becomes a little bit older. There'll be less hair in it, a little less aerodynamic. There's also environmental factors such as how hard the surface of the court is, how old the surface of the court is, the wind, the amount of sun, moisture in the air. The there's lots of factors here. The amount of spin that you put on the ball, the the amount of weight that's behind the ball when you make contact, all those things. So you'll never hit the same ball twice in your life. So practicing forehands for 10,000 hours or tennis for 10,000 hours doesn't mean you're going to become a professional tennis player. The other side to it is some people can become a professional tennis player in 6,000 hours. It's possible. Some people will never make it as a professional tennis player or even come close. It's just it's not there for them. They don't have those physical attributes that are needed to become a professional tennis player, or not necessarily needed, but it would be a little bit easier to become one. For example, if you're very short, it's less likely that you'll become a professional tennis player. The average size male tennis player, for example, is 6'1". The best size, and this is, my opinion, this is not fact as such, best size to be is 6'2" or 6'3", possibly. If you're taller than that, yeah, you'll have a lot of power, you'll have a lot of you'll have a lot of weight behind the ball when you hit, and it'll be difficult to play against. But you won't be able to move as well. So it's a give and take. However, if you say 5 foot or 5'1", it's almost like playing in a different weight category when you're boxing, a heavyweight versus a lightweight. Yeah, it's possible for the lightweight to win, but probably not very easy. The heavyweight only needs to hit one really good punch, and it's probably game over. So yeah, it does depend. I mean, how long does it take to get out of those initial phases? So you're a beginner, you've just started tennis, and all you want to do is be able to hit the ball over twice or three times in a row and have a rally, and be able to serve the ball over the net, which, by the way, is one of the hardest skills to learn out of any sport. The serve, that is. Yeah, so that can take it takes 5 years to become a tournament player. Now, to be able to hit a few shots over the net, yeah, it wouldn't take 5 years. It would can take a few months. It can take a year. It all depends how much time and effort you're putting into it. Are you working off the court as well to develop certain skills? For example, do you play other sports? That also helps. For example, like cricket or hockey or um, any ball sport for that matter. It helps hand-eye coordination. It helps you to visually test. So how far, it's called spatial distance. We how good are you at your spatial distance awareness? You know, how far is the ball compared to your racket? That sort of thing. How good your reactions are. If you work on all those things, then yeah, you will get better faster. However, if you're just going through the motions, you come to practice and you're just like, oh, the coach says I need to hit forehands, so I'm just going to hit forehands. And the whole way through, you're busy thinking about what you're going to eat for dinner that night, or who you're going to message later, or your friends, or whatever it is. Then yeah, you're not fully focused on what you need to achieve and learn. And in that case, sure, it'll take longer to learn those things. So, what should our goals and expectations be? Let's say you're a parent. What should we want our kids to do? Are we putting them in there to be a professional tennis player? Are we putting them in there to play tournaments? Or are we there to help them create a bit of social environments and fun? Yeah, do we all of the above? You can have any of those. So yeah, does it matter our parenting style? I mean, you've seen some very strict parents when it comes to tennis players, some more nonchalant, kind of going with the flow. If my kid wants to go, they can go. They don't have to. There's all the different styles. I wouldn't say that any of them are wrong as such, but just remember, if you are going to be that strict parent style, the child or the student for this matter may be playing for the wrong reasons. They may not truly love it the way that they should, which leads to a high probability of burnout later on, where they stop playing. And I mean, this happens at all levels, professional levels even. I saw it with a player that was at the age of 13. He won the under 18 South African nationals. He was one of the most talented players I had ever come across. I'm not going to name him. And, you know, once he got to 16 years old, other players started to catch up with him and he started losing for the first time in his life. And yeah, his parents were pretty strict on him and pretty hard. And yeah, he couldn't take the fact that he was losing. He hadn't learned how to lose. It's important to learn how to lose as well. And the parents couldn't really understand it. They sent him off to America to go get training with what they thought was one of the best coaches for him, and maybe or maybe not that coach was. And yeah, the kid burns out pretty quickly. So was he in it for the love of the game and to improve and to see how far he could go, learning all the important steps, the mental tools like learning how to lose, being a good sportsman, um, how to handle pressure, all of those things. He may have had some of them, but not all of them. Otherwise, it's possible he wouldn't have burnt out. So keep that all in mind when it comes to parenting styles. I personally believe that the best parenting style is to let the child decide whether they want to pursue it more or not. If they want to pursue it more, great, give them the option. If they don't, then they don't have to. They don't need to. Giving them the option will allow them to explore how far they want to go. Tennis is not the be all and ends all. It's not the most important thing in life. Very few people make it in the end. If you do, fantastic. If you don't, that's okay as well. Should we be encouraging our kids to socialize and enjoy the game and all of that? Absolutely. Yeah, that's what they should be there for. Good exercise, learning how to be a better sportsman, being fit, healthy. Those are all things you can gain from tennis, and a lot of other sports for that matter. For me, I started when I was 3 years old. When should kids start? Well, there is no time. You can start whenever you want. I started coaching. The youngest student I've coached was 2 years old. Sure, we couldn't go longer than 5 minutes, and it was a very interesting 5 minutes. And it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of laughing and smiling, and they having a ball. Um, yeah, you can start at any time. I would say maybe it's better to start post 3 years old. Uh, but I mean, I've had players that have started at the age of 45 and have turned pro for their age, the age of 51. So, there's both extremes. You can start whenever you want. There's no specific time. Yeah, it makes it more difficult when you're older. I'm Byron Werbeloff, and I hope this has been informative as to how tennis can develop through your life and how to improve your students and your children. Thank you.